Good morning and welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor and here are the latest headlines. President begins his four-day visit to China with a trip to the industrial city of Guangzhou. Pranab Mukherjee meets Governor Yu Xiadam, President to leave for Beijing later today. After Sarmadan Sonowal takes oath as Chief Minister of Assam, BJP announces alliance of non-Congress parties for development of the Northeast. Chief Ministers of Assam, Arunachal, Nagaland and Sikkim to join the alliance. Pinarayi Vijayan to be sworn in as the Chief Minister of Kerala today. On the eve of swearing in, LDF decides to implement some austerity measures. Official residences of the ministers not to be refurbished. Size of personal staff to be reduced. US-led coalition begins offensive to retake Islamic State's de facto capital of Raqqa. Thousands of Syrian democratic forces gather near the city to launch the attack. Ground troops to be supported by coalition airstrikes. Angelique Kerber becomes first major casualty at this year's French Open. Third seed knocked out by Dutch woman Kiki Bertens. Other top seeds sail through smoothly. Well, President Pranab Mukherjee is on a four-day tour of China and he started with a visit to Guangzhou, which is China's richest city. He met the governor of Guangdong and also addressed a business forum in the city. The president will leave for Beijing later today, where he will meet his counterpart Xi Jinping. Here is what to expect from the visit.
President Pranab Mukherjee's visit to China started with a trip to the industrial city of Guangzhou, the only Chinese province with an economy of over $1 trillion. President Mukherjee, while visiting the industrial hub, emphasized that India's relationship with China is to expand areas of agreement and reduce divergence. While interacting with the Indian community, which included nearly 3,000 businessmen, he cited examples of growing cooperation between India and China in various multilateral forums like United Nations, the World Bank, IMF and BRICS. He also urged the Indian community to participate actively for the country's development.
If they work together, if they come together, if they intensify their closer cooperation, if they expand and diversify their activities in trade, investment, sharing of best practices, sharing developmental experiences, and extend hand of cooperation, understanding to each other, that would be the great event.
During his first state visit to China, the president will be meeting his counterpart Xi Jinping on Thursday besides holding delegation-level talks with him. He will also meet Premier Li Keqiang and other top leaders. He is expected to raise the issue of China's attempt to block a UN ban on Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar. The talks will also feature China's insistence on building a consensus on India's admission into the nuclear suppliers group. This comes just days after Beijing backed Pakistan's claim to join the 48-member group. President Mukherjee was invited by Chinese President Xi Jinping. Accompanying him are Union Minister Santosh Kumar Gangwar, a delegation of academicians including vice-chancellors of 2 central universities and heads of IIT Delhi and IIM Ahmedabad. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
News from Kerala now, and the Pinarayi Vijayan-led Left Democratic Front or the LDF ministry will be sworn in today. Now, elaborate arrangements have been made at the Central Stadium in Thiruvananthapuram, which will play host to the swearing-in ceremony of the new LDF government headed by Pinarayi Vijayan. The LDF regained power after 5 years by winning 9 of the state assembly's 140 seats. The Congress-led UDF bagged only 47 seats. A day before the swearing-in, the LDF decided to implement some austerity measures in the state. It has decided that the official residences of the ministers will not be refurbished. Now, CM-designate Pinarayi Vijayan also said that his government will act strongly against corruption in the state. And Parliamentary Affairs Minister Venkaiah Naidu asserted on Tuesday that NDA anchored more productive sessions of Parliament than the erstwhile UPA regime and it introduced 101 bills. He also alleged that the opposition Congress was playing politics of obstructionism. The The Congress, however, was quick to rebut, and it invoked BJP's record of parliamentary disruption. As the NDA government stands on the threshold of completing 2 years in power, Parliamentary Affairs Minister Venkaiah Naidu stated that Lok Sabha passed 96 bills in the last 2 years, marking an improvement of 3 bills per year over the previous 10 years. Meanwhile, the Rajya Sabha cleared 83 bills, marking a decline of 4 bills per year. Lashing out at the Congress, Naidu said that 44 bills were pending in the Rajya Sabha, where the BJP lacks majority.
There are 44 bills pending in Rajya Sabha as against 11 in Lok Sabha. Pending means some of them are referred to standing committee in Lok Sabha. So I will be discussing it with the chairman and also with other party leaders to see that the backlog is cleared in Rajya Sabha.
The Congress was swift to rubbish all allegations and accuse the BJP of derailing legislative business while it was in opposition.
50 साल के रिकॉर्ड में लोकसभा मात्र 61% समय चली और राज्यसभा 66% समय चली, और जो कि पूरी तरह से भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कारण पार्लियामेंट नहीं चल सकती थी.
Meanwhile, Naidu exuded confidence on passage of the GST bill in the monsoon session of Parliament with change in the composition of Rajya Sabha. He also underscored that government's efforts to get the states on board will break the land acquisition bill limbo as well. This is Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV. News from Assam, and hours after Sarmanand Sonowal took oath as the Chief Minister of the state on Tuesday, a new alliance of regional parties in the BJP was formed for the Northeast region. The new NE alliance was formed at a meeting in Guwahati, which was chaired by BJP President Amit Shah and also attended by the newly sworn-in Assam Chief Minister Sonowal and his counterparts of Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland and Sikkim. Now, Assam Cabinet Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma was named the convener of the alliance, which will primarily deal with the issues of the Northeast. The meeting was also attended by BJP National General Secretary Ram Madhav and the BJP Northeast Zonal Organizing Secretary Ajay Jamwal.
The very purpose of this arrangement is, friends, to ensure greater development of the region through mutual cooperation within the region, as well as cooperation between the regional important political parties and the center. The charter and the statement of objectives will be drafted very soon.
We will work together for the development of Northeast. We will share our common problems in this platform. We will try to solve our common problems. We will try to grow together as a Northeast. And under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Amit Shah, this platform will work together to ensure that Northeast become one of the growth engine, rather a dark growth engine for the country.
Well, the new BJP-led government in Assam faces many challenges, including the decades-long problem of illegal migration of Bangladeshis. But it will be tested most on what steps it takes to stop human trafficking. Now, Assam, along with 4 other states, including West Bengal, accounts for as much as 97% of girl child trafficking in the country. This was one issue on which all political parties promised action during the elections.
The girls continue to disappear from Assam, leaving behind helpless parents who often don't know how or when their daughters went missing.
एक लड़का आया था, अब बोल के बोला काम ले जाएगा, बोले तेजपुर काम शाम करके आएगा, बोले थोड़ा दिन थकेगा और उसका बाद में आएगा बोल. तो अभी तो 1 साल हो गया, लड़की पता उतना नहीं मिलता है. हमारे गाँव में तो गरीब दुखिया मानुष, टका पैसा नहीं है, हम इतना दूर रास्ता कहाँ जाएगा हम उसको खोजने के लिए.
3 साल हो गया सर. 3 साल से धरो 1 महीना जैसा हो गया अभी तो.
कैसे हुआ था, क्या हुआ था?
पता नहीं भाई, तो चला गया, हमको तो मालूम नहीं था. हम तो अपना ड्यूटी चला जाता है.
सप्ताह में लगभग हम लोग 5 लड़की पकड़ने का कोशिश करता है और कभी कभी पकड़ने में सक्सेस हो जाता है. कल भी ऐसे एक केस हम लोग का लड़का लोग पकड़ा, लगभग वहाँ पे 7 लड़की था. जो कोई बदमाश एजेंट है वो लेके जा रहा था. वो एक लड़का यूपी का ही लड़का था, वो लेके जा रहा था, तो पकड़ के हम लोग उसको फिर वापस घर भेज दिया.
The plight of Geeta and Jyoti's parents is shared by hundreds of poor families who work in the tea gardens of Assam. The state CID claims that as many as 4,754 boys and girls have been trafficked out of the state. Unfortunately, no FIRs are filed. The traffickers prey on people displaced by the ethnic violence and the recurrent floods in the state. The problem is the most acute in tea plantation areas that are found in almost 24 of the 27 districts of the state. An indifferent police force, a very low conviction rate, contributes to the problem that's rampant in districts like Kokrajhar, Sonitpur, Baksa, Lakhimpur, Dhemaji, Dhubri, Golaghat and Tinsukia.
क्या मेन रीजन क्या है आपको लगता है, चाहे आप तो उतने वक्त से काम कर रही हैं?
ट्रैफिकिंग फर्स्ट एंड मेन तो है पॉवर्टी, बहुत है पॉवर्टी। 1/3 ऑफ पॉपुलेशन बिलो पॉवर्टी लाइन यहाँ का तो जो स्टेटस है, गांव एरिया में कुछ नहीं है करने के लिए। मैट्रिक पास हो गया, ठीक है, उसका बाद उसको कुछ नहीं मिलेगा। उसका पेरेंट्स का पास इतना पैसा भी नहीं है को बाहर गुवाहाटी भेज के कहीं टाउन में भेज के उसको पढ़ाए, तो क्या करेगा वो लड़का हो या लड़की। तो वो लोग बाहर जाने के लिए सीधा ट्रेन में बाहर चला जाता है।
अभी क्या है कि प्लेसमेंट एजेंसी कौन कहाँ काम कर रहे हैं, क्या कर रहे हैं कि क्लियर पता नहीं होता। उनके ऊपर एक रेगुलेशन ज़रूरी है, जो कि शायद दिल्ली में ऐसा कुछ काम चल रहा है और हमारे यहाँ भी सरकार ने लेबर डिपार्टमेंट को ये काम दिया है कि इसको रेगुलेट करने के लिए इंटरस्टेट माइग्रेंट वर्कमैन एक्ट है, जिसके तहत ये रेगुलेशन बनाए जा सकते हैं। उससे क्या होगा कि जो भी ले जाएगा किसी को किसी काम दिलवाने के लिए, रोजगार के लिए, तो उसमें उस पर एक जवाबदेही आएगी।
The human trafficking issue found mention in almost all the election manifestos during the state polls. The BJP had promised to tackle the problem in the 2014 Lok Sabha elections as well. Panchanan Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, India is putting up for auction nearly 4 dozen small oil and gas fields in the first such sale in 6 years. More than 80 chief executives of global firms are likely to participate in the bidding for 67 blocks, with 85 million ton reserves worth 77,000 crore rupees. Now, a total of 46 oil and gas fields, with 26 on land and 18 offshore in shallow water and 2 in deep water, will be auctioned. The deadline for submitting the bids is the 31st of October, with companies free to try for more than one exploration block. And in other news, now seeking to internationalize the issue of India's proposed MAPS bill, now Pakistan has said that the depiction of the disputed territory of Jammu and Kashmir as an integral part of India in the bill is a violation of UN Security Council resolutions. Now, Pakistan has also called the inclusion of Jammu and Kashmir in India's map factually incorrect and morally unacceptable. Pakistan had last week sought UN intervention on the draft bill in Indian Parliament over the map of Jammu and Kashmir, and it had written to UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, raising serious concerns over the bill. The letter also asked the international community to honour its responsibility to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Meanwhile, India has reacted strongly, saying that it was an entirely internal legislative matter and Pakistan or any other party has no locus standi on it. India also said that it firmly rejects the repeated and increasing attempts by Pakistan to impose on the international community matters that it has always been open to address bilaterally with it. In News at 10, time for a very short break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, Pakistan has said that it could not confirm that Afghan Taliban leader Mullah Akhtar Mansoor has been killed in a US drone strike, saying that the body recovered from near the Afghan border was charred beyond recognition. The country's Home Minister Chaudhry Nisar Ali Khan said that the DNA samples had been collected from the remains and it would be tested against a relative who came forward to claim the body. The statement comes after both the US and Afghanistan confirmed the killing of Mansoor near the Pakistani town of Ahmed Lal, when missiles fired from a drone struck the car that he was travelling in. Pakistan has called the strike a violation of its sovereignty. However, United States has said that it will continue to target terrorists who harm his interests and says that it respects Pakistan's sovereignty but maintains that it had informed Pakistan of its move.
दूसरे शख्स की लाश थी, उसके बारे में कंफर्मेशन इसलिए नहीं हो सकती थी कि कहा यह गया है कि ये मुल्ला मंसूर की लाश है और मुल्ला मंसूर पाकिस्तानी नहीं है। सो किसी किस्म की साइंटिफिक वेरिफिकेशन के बगैर, DNA टेस्ट के बगैर पाकिस्तानी हुकूमत या पाकिस्तानी इदारों के पास कोई जरिया नहीं था कि हम सरकारी तौर पर इस खबर की कंफर्मेशन कर सकें।
More news on Pakistan, and a UNS Senate panel has tied $300 million in aid to Pakistan for 2017 to its efforts to destroy the Haqqani network, an Afghan terrorist outfit that Islamabad backs and shelters. The aid, which is disbursed as a reimbursement to US coalition partners in Afghanistan, will be cleared only against a certification to this effect by the Secretary of Defense. It is under discussion as a part of the legislative process to approve a US military's budget for the next year, which is called the National Defense Authorization Act of 2017. Now, Congress, which controls the US purse, recently killed an Obama administration proposal to substantially subsidize the sale of 8 new F-16 fighter jets to Pakistan, demanding action against the Haqqani network. And it is the Haqqani network again against whom the Senate panel wants to see the Pakistani government to take demonstrable action if it wants the $300 million slated as reimbursement. News from the Middle East, and the US-led coalition has begun an offensive to retake over Raqqa, the northern Syrian city, which is controlled by the Islamic State group for more than 2.5 years. The Kurdish-led forces have massed thousands of fighters north of the city for the military campaign. They are also joined in by the Russian forces, which suffered significant damage by an attack by Islamic State on a strategic airbase recently. A US-backed alliance of Kurdish and Arab fighters are starting to push north into Islamic State's de facto capital of Raqqa in Syria. The battle is meant to retake that area, which was seized by Islamic State in 2013. The US-led coalition is providing assistance and advice to the Syrian Democratic Forces in the battle, with the coalition's warplanes supporting the offensive. This comes as Syria has seen a spurt in violence in recent days, causing widespread damage and innumerable civilian deaths as well. Russia has also given its backing. The country's helicopter unit based in Syria was wiped out by an Islamic State attack recently. Around 5,000 Islamic State fighters are estimated to be inside Raqqa.
These horrific incidents are the most recent in what appears to be a swiftly escalating violence across the country, in which civilians, along with structures indispensable to their survival, appear to have been specifically targeted. Medical facilities have been particularly affected.
The offensive to retake Raqqa comes a day after Islamic State suicide bombers struck in several areas of Tartus and Jable, killing at least 150 civilians. The attacks are significant because Tartus is home to Russian naval facility and Jable is close to a Russian-operated air base.
The Secretary General condemns the terrorist attacks today that claimed the lives of dozens of civilians in the Syrian coastal towns of Jable and Tartus. The Secretary General also takes note with great concern of the escalating military activity in many parts in and around Damascus.
While 59 armed groups have joined the reconciliation process in Syria, which began on 27th of February with the introduction of a ceasefire, terrorist factions like Islamic State and Al-Nusra Front continue their efforts to regain ground. Islamic State seized the city of Raqqa in August 2013, 5 months after it became the first Syrian provincial capital to fall to rebel forces seeking to topple President Bashar al-Assad. The jihadist group quickly established its headquarters there and began imposing its vision of a state, implementing a strict interpretation of Islamic law. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And at the two-day World Humanitarian Summit in Istanbul, global leaders discussed ways to tackle the migrant crisis that is playing out in many parts of the world. Now, United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon urged the participants to improve the global humanitarian system.
As thousands of stranded migrants were evacuated from the makeshift camp on Greece's northern border with Macedonia, world leaders continued their talks in Istanbul to tackle a broken system that has left hundreds of millions in need of aid. Greek police on Tuesday evacuated more than 1,000 migrants from a makeshift camp on the country's border months after they refused to leave. Many of the migrants are from conflict zones in Syria, Iraq and Afghanistan. They have been living in tents with little food to eat.
I'm staying in Idomeni. No need to go to the camp. I need to stay in Idomeni. Not a problem. Police in Greece need to open the train. No problem.
We hope to see that the rest of this evacuation continues to be a peaceful process and that the new sites are well equipped to meet basic humanitarian standards for services and assistance.
Meanwhile, at the two-day World Humanitarian Summit, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon called on the international community to find better solution to the migrant crisis.
I urge you to commit to cutting half the number of internally displaced people by 2030 and to find better long-term solutions for refugees and displaced people based on more equal sharing of responsibilities.
Bu iltica, bu sığınma süreci devam etse dahi varil bombalarından kaçan, büyük bir tehditle karşı karşıya kalan İster Suriyeli olsun, ister Iraklı olsun, kim olursa olsun, kapımızı hiçbir zaman insanlığa kapamayacağız. Bunu özellikle belirtmek istiyorum.
The UN chief also urged governments, aid groups, private sectors and other stakeholders to take strong action to improve the system. An international framework for refugees and asylum seekers, more legal pathways for migration and combating migrant trafficking was also discussed.
The World Humanitarian Summit in this unique and inclusive format because of the important role that people affected by crisis, civil society, NGOs and others play in humanitarian action.
The summit aims to mobilize funds for humanitarian aid for the estimated 130 million people in need of it around the world. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
Let's get to some more international news. Here is the World Wrap. An alliance of agitating Madheshi and other minority groups is seeking more rights and representation in Nepal's new constitution on Tuesday snubbed Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli by boycotting an all-party meeting called by him to resolve the current political crisis. Now, most of them said that they were not aware of the meeting. The Madheshi forces had earlier also snubbed an all-party meeting called by PM Oli. The Nawaz Sharif government has been issued a notice by a Pakistani court in Lahore on a petition challenging the Prime Minister on his more than 70 foreign tours. The petition says that the Prime Minister's tours have cost the Exchequer over 600 million rupees. The Lahore High Court yesterday issued a notice on a plea by barrister Javed Iqbal Jafri. Egyptian forensics officials have collected DNA from relatives of Egypt Air MS-804 victims to help identify body parts retrieved from the Mediterranean. This as investigators are still searching for the Airbus A320's two black boxes on the seabed as they seek answers as to why the aircraft came down early on Thursday with 66 people on board. Now, France's Aviation Safety Agency has said that the aircraft transmitted automated messages including smoke in the cabin before contact was lost. For the first time, Republican frontrunner Donald Trump seems to have edged ahead of Democrat Hillary Clinton in the presidential polling. The polling data site Real Clear Politics takes an average of the national polls that asks Americans who would they choose in a contest between the two candidates. And on Sunday, RCP updated their numbers to show that Trump is now, on an average, 0.2 percentage points ahead of Hillary Clinton. News from Roland Garros and top seeds Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic, Andy Murray and Serena Williams all advanced into the next round of the French Open. But Australian Open champion Angelique Kerber crashed out on Tuesday.
Novak Djokovic, a three-time Roland Garros finalist, faced little resistance from Taiwan's world number 95 Lu Yenshun as he cruised to a 6-4, 6-1, 6-1 victory. The Serb, bidding to become just the 8th man to secure a career Grand Slam, needed only 90 minutes on court Philippe Chartier to book a second-round encounter with Belgian qualifier Steve Darcis.
Well, second and third set were really good. I thought I found my rhythm. The first set, was up and down, but I'll take the positives out of it, and I'm hoping I can progress as the tournament goes on.
However, Andy Murray was forced to recover from a 2-set deficit to overcome 37-year-old Radek Stepanek 3-6, 3-6, 6-love, 6-3, 7-5 in a match lasting 3 hours and 41 minutes. The second seed had been trailing by 2-1 but up a break in the fourth when play was suspended on Monday due to darkness.
It was obviously an extremely difficult match, very, very tricky, challenging. Today was pretty, stressful, kind of hour and a half, I think we were on the court, something like that.
While Murray toiled, there were no such problems for 9-time champion Rafael Nadal, who extended his record at Roland Garros to 71 wins against just 2 losses. The 4th-seeded Spaniard made quick work of 100th-ranked Sam Groth, taming the Australian's power serve with 8 breaks in a resounding 6-1, 6-1, 6-1 win. In the women's draw, top seed Serena Williams, who is 1 Grand Slam title shy of Steffi Graf's Open-era record of 22, began the defense of a French Open crown with a crushing 6-2, 6-love win over Slovakia's Magdalena Rybarikova. The world number 1 blasted 25 winners and broke the 77th ranked Rybarikova 6 times to progress into the second round in just 42 minutes.
Yeah, it was a little short for me, but I think in my career, if I don't have it by now, I need to look into something different. So I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
However, Angelique Kerber became the tournament's first major casualty as Dutchwoman Kiki Bertens consigned the German 3rd seed to a 6-2, 3-6, 6-3 defeat. The German also lost her opening matches at the Madrid and Rome tournaments, and a shoulder injury ruled her out of Nuremberg last week. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Well, that's it from me and my team in this edition of news. Thanks for watching.